Obamacare, and even myself, like on Obamacare now, and having some little medical problem, and like these crummy doctors they send me to, and I have to go to like some bad neighborhood to some Russian doctor who doesn't speak English, using some 1960s equipment on me, and it's just like, damn, this is great.
Woo. Affordable care.
Can I just have some pot?
For everybody.
Can I just have some pot, please?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just grow it myself.
So what do you think about the states that have legalized it being able to push back against federal intrusion? We're still seeing that the war is still on there. In D.C., the voters voted for it, and they're saying, no, you can't have that. We're going to go ahead and push back.
Well, first of all, if you've ever been to D.C., I can't imagine why you wouldn't want everybody to be high on pot. It's a really scary, weird, I mean, it's the most segregated, dangerous place in the world. And wherever there's a dangerous ghetto, trust me, it's better if they're all smoking pot. You want everybody to be high, trust me.
Yeah.
If you want safer streets, pot, please.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that would work, because then they couldn't keep everyone in this constant state of fear of like terrorism, because I don't think anyone's really worried about terrorists when they're, high and laughing at.
And I've never seen anybody that's been stoned, really heavily stoned, wanting to buy crack.
Yeah.
But I have seen plenty of people who are drunk wanting to get cocaine or speed. So the whole gateway theory.
Or thinking that they can drive
Yeah,
there.
forget about it. Yeah, I mean, the whole gateway theory is so ridiculous. And, it's putting marijuana in the same classification as other harsh drugs, and then pharmaceuticals aren't. We became foster parents too back in Los Angeles, and all these foster kids are also on all this medication. I mean, they purposely drug all these foster kids up, and what becomes even trickier is when the kids, like, they don't even want to get off it because they become addicted, and yet they're convinced that they're not addicted to drugs because
they're legal,
because it's from a doctor,
right?
And even I'll be like, watch my little documentaries. It's like, no, it's like, the drug addiction is a lot stronger than reasoning. Drug addiction is a very powerful animal that overpowers everything.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of lives destroyed from that, just coming from Florida, where it's a huge epidemic there. Which is a lot of the time when we want to educate our viewers on jury nullification, so that when they do have those opportunities to get in those courtrooms where they are looking at weed cases or whatever, they can decide if it's a just law to send someone to prison because they had a joint.
Right. Not to mention, I mean, I think this whole thing is not even close to being over until we can start letting people out of prison. There's so many people that are still in prison for like little small, ridiculous, marijuana-related cases. That, I think there's a big part of the government now that's wanting to make everybody think like, oh, the pot thing is over. You guys don't need to be protesting about pot anymore. Just look, go to Colorado. It's all good.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people now are using Colorado as like, look at it's turning into like, pot hell because look at all the people. But then just, I don't know. I mean,
I'm sure it'll
just open up the gates.
Excitement of it. I think it'll fizzle out a little bit. But yeah, if you let it spread out, it won't be such a hotbed for it. If it's
Hey, when they legalize it here in Texas, I'll be the first guy to try to open a dispensary on 6th Street.
Yeah. Well,
that'll be sweet.
I won't admit that I might be lined up there.
All right.
Well, we just had a Freeway Ricky Ross in studio, basically talking about the pipeline to prison and how the hip hop industry is really trying to set up a whole generation of people to go and spend their lives in prison, to idolize this kind of gang culture, drug culture, and things like that. And what was your experience working?
You mean if I don't go into debt to put corporate logos all over my body, I'm not cool? I love Rick. I've been friends with Ricky now, over 10 years. I helped with this case a little bit, helped him get out of prison, and Freeway Rick is awesome. And so there's a new film coming out that I didn't make this film, but I was a co-producer on it. I've helped with a little bit, called Cracking the System, and it premieres on Al Jazeera in February. So check that out, Cracking the System, the Freeway Ricky Ross story. It's an amazing, amazing job done by Mark Levin and others.
Yeah, and were you shocked to discovering anything with the CIA's connections with that. I mean, even when we spoke to him, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know." You know, I just
right. I mean, it's it's funny because I'm always like the guy, maybe because I'm a Libra, who gets caught in the middle of people. Like I got caught in between Alex Jones and Peter Joseph of Zeitgeist. And I got caught in between Alex Jones and Mike Rupert. And Mike Rupert was like the LAPD guy that said said the CIA was trying to pay him to do that, and Gary Webb died, and then Mike Rupert just committed suicide. So it's like you see these whistleblowers committing suicide one after another. And, there's part of you that says like, oh, it's got to be the CIA killing him. And then there's another part of you, it's like, well, I knew that guy. He was a little like off and depressed and maybe drank too much and all that. And then sometimes I wonder if there's like a fine line on there where people just allow these things to get to them. I think maybe that's why Alex just seems to be kind of like this bullish character who just can just keep going, whether you love him or hate him. He just has this, this ability to kind of like roll it off at the end of the night and enjoy life, So, if I could say that to all the Alex Jones viewers out there, don't take anything too seriously. If you allow yourself to get too bummed out or too freaked out by any of this, then they're winning.
They've won.
Then they've won. So, no matter how scary or messed up the world seems, like, it's all just a ride.
Yeah.
Bill used to say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what Alex told me when I first started working here, was just go dance, go have fun, go out to dinner with your friends. That's how you win.
Yeah, don't stay up all night like reading conspiracy books and like think, just you gotta just.
That's what they want. Is to keep your mind trapped.
Yeah, exactly.
In that fear.
And to make people like us seem crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so I know you were here speaking with Alex on the radio show today, and is there anything you can tell me about your top secret projects?
I don't know. It's not that top secret. Well, I've got a couple of documentaries underway. One is like really serious, and the other one's more comical. The serious one is it's going to be a look at how governments have been staged and elections and it have been rigged throughout history to create the history of the world. I know it's a story that Alex Jones has told many times before, but the difference between this one is that we're going to be going over to a former Soviet country and telling a lot of the film from there. And so I'd like to give a shout out to everybody in Sofia, Bulgaria, who's watching this interview. That will be coming over there soon. And so we've got a very rare, amazing thing to have like a stronghold, a base of operations with SWAT-style security, the whole bit, to be able to go to some former Soviet places and do some journalism that would have never been possible before.
Yeah.
So that's one film. The other film is going to be another pot doc because I just can't stay off of it. I don't know. I just can't. It's just too fun and easy to make pot docs when you're surrounded by it.
People love it.
As long as they're buying, I'm selling. This one is going to be a look at all these publicly traded companies that are out there right now. There's over 130 publicly traded marijuana companies, and a lot of them are all fraudulent. And it's become a way for I'm looking at it as almost a new shift in the drug war, and you've got people out there that are making millions of dollars off of drugs that are never even touching drugs. Right. And it's actually drug dealing has moved on to the stock market now.
Yeah.
And and a lot of it's penny stocks.
Yeah.
And we're talking to people like Jordan Belfort, who was actually cellmates with Tommy Chong when I visited Tommy in prison for the first drug war film. Tommy was writing his book in prison at the time called Tao of Chong, and he had this Wall Street guy in prison with him, and he convinced this guy, hey, you should write a book. Well, it turned out to be The Wolf of Wall Street.
Wow.
So how crazy is that?
Yeah, I was going to say those guys are probably used to that sort of thing on there.
Yeah, so Jordan Belfort, and so there's a whole nother layer right now going on in the marijuana industry that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, that I think is absolutely fascinating, and some Ponzi schemes that are in just crazy money-making schemes of people pulling millions of dollars out of thin air. Because a lot of people will just think like, hey, I'll invest in marijuana. It sounds like a good investment. Well, they're not realizing, they better look at who they're really investing in.
Right. Well, because there's all sorts of things that they can just kind of put out there and then, oh, no, we've decided we're not going to legalize it in this state. Or, But now we got the PayPal founder just coming out, becoming one of marijuana's biggest investors. So we're seeing that, you know, the cat's kind of out of the bag on cannabis here. It's just which way is it going to go? I personally think, you know, Monsanto and companies like this are trying to figure out how they can, you know, turn it into a genetically modified thing to control.
There's been conspiracies ever since I've been in the pot movement about how companies are trying to put genetics into the marijuana thing. When you get into these high-end marijuana people, they're all about their genetics and owning like proprietary genetics and all this. And it's a very interesting thing. Yeah, all these strains and like being able to trademark or copyright or patent these strains. And you know, it'll be interesting to see if that's ever really able to be fought out in court or not, you know, so it's interesting.
Well, they can do it with corn and tomatoes.
Yeah, I know. So I'm sure they will in the future. So it's going to be it'll be a crazy future, you know, as this thing is, because there's a lot of money in it. But at the same time, there's something different about the pot business than even the alcohol business. And so a lot of people always draw the similarities between the ending of alcohol prohibition to where we are right now with alcohol. I mean, where we are with marijuana right now. And yeah, there are similarities to that, but then at the other end, people weren't able to grow great alcohol in their backyard. You know, so marijuana it's a different animal. It really lends itself to the do-it-yourselfers and the people who are not going to like sign up to be a part of some big thing. It's you know, marijuana almost breeds a very you know, very loner, individualistic kind of thing, and you know, and on some regards compared to alcohol.
Yeah, it already has been kind of thriving in the underground for all of this time. So
right. I mean, when alcohol prohibition ended, people were like, okay, I want to get Bacardi rum, or I want to get, you know, when marijuana prohibition ends, people they're going to get whatever they can wherever they can and do it however they can, and they're going to try to spend as little money as possible, and there's just no way they can control it. That's what's so amazing about pot. They just can't control it. They can't stop it. It's like a little weed that beat the government, you know? Yeah. And that's what's great, because the more the government tried to like beat down this weed, actually the stronger it got, you know? I mean, I mean, they complain about how there's so much more THC today. It's like, well, thanks to you guys, you know what I mean? That's right. You guys, because of what you guys, because of what you did, like the pot is better than ever, because like people are out there perfecting that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some of the best vegetables you're ever gonna find are inside of prisons, because where there's marijuana growers that are in prison, because these guys are in there like making tomatoes and onions. They're like these little perfect, you know, things. And so Tommy Chong was telling me the best vegetables of all time are like grown with all these.
Want to make sure their scientific expertise doesn't.
So
lose that.
Yeah, it's like this whole breed out there of people that are, you know, and so it's interesting to see this PayPal guy, this Peter Thiel, who I guess he's the one that they based that Silicon Valley show on that HBO show. The Mike Judge show was based on him, and so it's fascinating though that he's getting into this for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of investors and people obviously watching the stock market are, like you said, trying to figure out how they can get in on this, and maybe not in the penny stocks, because we saw that in exactly the Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. It's funny how it all comes around, but that's how people are kind of losing out in this. Well, anything else you didn't get to talk about on the Alex Jones Show today?
You know, I don't, no, I feel pretty, it was great coming to Austin and being here. And
yeah, well, we're glad to be a part of your upcoming top secret project.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Alex already did a great interview for it. So, you know, I'm sure it's going to be a year or so before this thing comes out. There's a lot of work to do, but appreciate you guys having us here, and you guys have been great.
Well, we appreciate you and everything you've done. Documentary is obviously one of the best ways to break open minds.
All right.
Shatter through the lies and illusion.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And that's it for the show tonight. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, become a subscriber to the Alex Jones channel. We will bring you constant updates, flooding your feed with all that you need to fight the info war. And then head over to prisonplanet.tv. We are still running our special, only $29.95 a year. And you can share your username and password with up to 20 people at the same time. So that is an excellent deal. Get yours today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you here again Monday night at 7 p.m. Central.